Hello. Hair good, cool, hair good and hair fair. Turning away the screen of the camera so that I don't look at myself and I look at you instead. And I don't know if just me, I don't know if I'm just gonna watch this video or if I'm gonna share it. So if you're watching it, then I probably went through some thoughts about that and then made a decision. I'm gonna talk straight from my liver right now about truth, and I'm gonna call this a truth talk and maybe do a series of this. Truth talk. Feels good just saying that. It came from Jed McKenna's Spiritual Enlightenment, The Damnedest Thing, the book I read 3 years ago, or 3 years ago, which blew my head off and actually made me kind of depressed or I became a little disturbed by it. Like I found a little less meaning in everything around me after that book, because it's about abandoning all beliefs and everything that you believe in, everything that you think can fulfill you is kind of not really it. And that's why I was walking around feeling kind of numb, maybe. I was feeling numb towards the world. You know, really? Isn't this cool anymore? Isn't that what? And that was a little disturbing. But now it will probably feel very different reading that book, because this was just knocking on a new layer of reality, questioning reality, and then walking through it. Once it actually turned into liquid and fell down, then there was new meaning showing up, and this was a longer process than it sounds like right now. But I feel like I'm much more. I know what he is talking about in that book. And truth. I was just thinking here on the bench there. I was about to meditate, but I was too cold, so I wanted to get this camera up instead and maybe get some deeper realizations. I use that word too much. Realizations towards truth. I was thinking, committing to the truth. That's the topic right now. Committing. Are you willing to give up everything for the truth? I'm just cold. That's why I'm shaking a little. But it's a moving topic. It's a very vulnerable topic to talk about. Because, hey, look around. There are lots of amusements around. And they're a part of the truth. They're a part of reality. This is about realizing reality, huh? And reality is here. But it's about experiencing life head-on, directly, with a direct experience, with nothing, mind, thoughts, beliefs, lies, illusions in the way. Fogging true life experience. I'm also shivering my voice because it's cold, but it's still a vulnerable thing to talk about. And yeah, we can just think about that. Are we ready to commit? How ready are we to commit? You'll probably find yourself, if you're on this, if you're interested in what I'm talking about now, you might be feeling a little more committed tomorrow, next week, next month, the older you grow and the longer you stay on this journey. And I doubt that there's no way back if you've already made a commitment to the truth, or if you've already had awakening experience. Then it's hard to look back. You can look back for a little, but you'll probably get more drawn towards looking inward again. And it's such a rewarding journey, beautiful journey, and it feels nice to share thoughts about it and contribute to the community of soul-seeking individuals. When I say committing to the truth, I think about Jesus, and I think about Richard Rose, who was a Zen guru, American actually, living on a farm in Virginia. And there's a book, it's free online somewhere. I can link it in the description if I remember. If I don't, then remind me. You can read it for free, After the Absolute. It's an amazing book. It's written very well by a lawyer who was a student of Richard. Richard was a so-called enlightened man who had the enlightening experience, which was very unusual at that time. It's more normal now. Still not super normal at all, but there's way more of it now around. People are waking up. But he had this immense integrity and commitment to the truth. He was living in celibacy for 8 years in the West, which is not a typical thing to do here in the West. And people will be offended when they hear that, you know, living in celibacy for 8 years. What's the point of that? And I don't know if I don't think I will do that. But I think that dedication was very natural. So it was not something that he forced himself to do. He was a pretty strict and intense guy who could hurt his students too, hurt their feelings. Very concise and kind of it's my way or the highway. Kind of a Steve Jobs of spirituality, if you will. And he had this intense integrity and just commitment to doing the right thing and live with complete honesty and authenticity, and turn around all the, leave no rocks unturned. Look for answers everywhere. Look on all your traumas and all your faults and all your shames, everything that you haven't accepted about yourself and your story, and everything around, all judgments that you have. What's behind those? What's the truth behind it? Looking at everything, all aspects. Expose all lies, illusions. I just think that's fascinating. There's no call to action here for me right now, but I think that's fascinating. Just people who have a strong commitment to the truth. And I personally, when dealing with people, I'm not shoving the truth in your face. You know, if there's something I think you should do differently, I try to take your feelings into account. And sometimes I may not even be completely honest and kind of shove it under the carpet, but I'm working on that. But I just sometimes I just feel this big inspiration from these figures like Richard Rose, or another coach that I admire, who's, I think that right now, he will be over 100 years right now. Wooden, Coach Johnny Wooden. John Wooden, I think it is. He coached UCLA, the basketball Bruins team, the most winning coach in basketball in the last century, I believe. And he never even mentioned winning once in front of his teammates. He couldn't remember using that word at all. Winning was not important to him. The most important thing was to do the best you could to become the best you could be every day. And his success was the work. He saw work. He wanted work to be successful. That you do everything you can to become the best you can be. That's the measure. That's the success standard. That was all that mattered. That impacted me. He was also kind of a type 1 on the Enneagram, type of like always doing the right thing, be completely principled. I admire those people. I wouldn't score as a 1. This is a type 1 on the Enneagram personality test. That kind of person, Gandhi. People who just always do the right, are very principled, stubborn on their principles. And I think about, sometimes I think about Gary Vaynerchuk, who I think is that type of person in entrepreneurship right now. At least he's, out there in front of people on the screen. So we can see there are probably many entrepreneurs with integrity out there. But I think Gary embodies it very well on the camera as well. And Jesus, which is, I've talked about that before, but this image of Jesus that I've had because of growing up in a Christian home, it's, he embodied truth. That's probably the most pixelated picture of somebody who embraces truth fully, in my mind. Okay. They were larger than life. There were these types of people who just had realized something that was more meaningful than a lot of what we think about and get caught up in. Beyond drama. And you can be that person. You can walk around and be that person and have no money and you'll still be fine. Because you'll have that, and you will create value. You will spread value and love and joy around you. Presence, which is what people appreciate the most. They appreciate people who care about them, who can see their souls. And that's, you can be that. You are that. Behind all your intellectual fears and insecurities, behind all that there's a being that is extremely powerful, and you can be that being and live a life free of worries, because the worries are only in the mind and the ego. And you can trust life. And if you trust life, people will trust you, and they will give you what you need. You will give yourself what you truly need, and you won't give yourself what you absolutely don't need, which you might think you need, which will just fulfill your addictions short term, but actually ruin your life long term. You will have none of that. So walk through the world with ease and power and authenticity. And you will do the things you are meant to do on this planet. And I don't think there's a book up there telling the public what you should be doing on this planet, but you will do what you feel called for, or what naturally comes out of you when there's no insecurities and ego and bullshit in the way. That was my truth talk video for today. I enjoyed speaking about it, and this is quite a privilege to be able to share this in front of hundreds of people. I thank you very much. The art of talking about high states of consciousness and deep values and truth, and then still have the image of being a comedian. Yeah, I'm just saying. So you kind of just have to choose one role sometimes. I'm working on it.